You've all heard the old cliche, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Well, right now, Lithuania is a country in need and Taiwan wants to prove it is a friend indeed. Wordplay aside, this is a real geopolitical tussle. On one side is tiny Lithuania, on the other is China. Since last year, Lithuania has been picking fights with Beijing. We say kudos to them. They have criticized every Chinese abuse, the genocide in Xinjiang, the crackdown in Hong Kong, the intimidation of Taiwan, all of it. And late last year, they did the unthinkable. They invited Taiwan to open a de facto embassy in their capital. Needless to say, China was livid. They responded with a trade war. Lithuanian goods were getting stuck in Chinese customs. European multinationals were suddenly losing business. It's classic Chinese strategy. Unofficial and illegal trade embargoes, that's what they do. Except this time, Lithuania has found a friend in Taiwan. Taiwan is promising to invest $200 million in Lithuania. For a tiny Baltic state, that's a lot of money, $200 million. This investment will go into semiconductors, lasers, biotechnology, basically cutting-edge research. Lithuania has always wanted to expand its semiconductor industry. With Taiwanese money and tech, they can. This is an example for other democracies in the world. For years, China has saddled smaller nations with debt. They have enforced unofficial blockades and embargoes. And what did the world do? Mostly nothing. They were slow to create alternatives. They were reluctant to compete with China. And then you have Taiwan helping out a fellow democracy being bullied by China. It's not just about this investment fund. It's also about the spirit of resistance. Let me tell you what happened earlier this week. Lithuania had produced 20,000 bottles of rum. 20,000 bottles of rum, they were headed for China. Except Beijing's blockade would have stranded the booze at customs. Enter Taiwan. Their state-run liquor company decided to buy all 20,000 bottles. And that's not all. They posted this message on Facebook. It's basically a recipe card. What can you make with Lithuanian rum? It's got cocktails, steaks, French toast, even some boozy coffee. And I have to say, we've been covering China for a long time here. We've heard countries lash out at them. We've seen leaders threaten them. But this one takes the cake. A recipe card for rum that China refused to buy. Classic stuff from Taiwan. Remember, all this help is coming at a huge risk for Taiwan. China could invade any moment. They could be waking up to rockets and fighter jets. It's a real possibility. So Taiwan's objective is twin. One, diplomatically fight off China, and two, prepare for war. The second objective, preparing for war, is part of Taiwan's everyday life. In the last 2 days, 2 military drills were held. One was an urban warfare exercise. The second was an air defense drill. The fact is, Taiwanese troops must live in constant readiness. They must constantly think about that dreaded question: what if China invades? A US military journal has an interesting take on that question. It says if China invades, Taiwan must destroy its semiconductor factories. I know it sounds a bit dramatic, but this is common war strategy. If your enemy invades, destroy your most valuable assets. Make sure they don't fall into the wrong hands. Ideally, things should not go that far. Just like Taiwan is backing Lithuania, bigger powers must ideally back Taiwan. American and German diplomats have supported Lithuania's crusade against China. It's a welcome start, but they need to go beyond words. They must do what Taiwan is doing, offer alternatives to China. The strategy is 100% foolproof, by the way. How do I know? Because Beijing is rattled, that's how.
The US side has defended Lithuania's erroneous act of creating one China, one Taiwan, and attempted to put together a small clique condoning the Taiwan independence forces. This further exposes the US intention to use Taiwan to contain China. It will only damage the international image of the US itself and end up hurting itself.
If Lithuania can do it, if Taiwan can do it, surely the big powers of our world can also do it. They can rescue countries from China's debt trap. They can help them circumvent China's illegal trade barriers. The time for statements and condemnations has passed. As they say in the movies, it's time to show the money.